Okay, we are live, boys. For probably one of the most crazy weekends that I've seen in crypto. All-time highs for Bitcoin and Solana over the last few days. Trump Inauguration Day. I know it's a US holiday as well, so thank you for tuning in if you're based in the US. James, how have you fared over the last week?
Well, it's funny because a week ago we were all kind of a little bit worried and depressed. We kind of knew there's probably going to be a run into the inauguration, but we weren't sure. And you know, we all were pretty glum last week, but what a difference a couple of days makes is incredible. There's also players playing that we don't know who they are. We're seeing crazy moves in Bitcoin, and we actually literally yesterday, from the time where whoever was manipulating the price down to the top, that was almost an Omega candle. $10,000 from bottom to top. Did anybody see that?
Yeah, it was amazing.
That's pretty stunning. So the rebound was stunning too. So I always warn people to keep their seatbelts on in crypto because it is volatile and it's designed to shake you out. Do not let that happen.
Yeah, there was a few of those sort of moments. Yesterday, I think Solana was like breaking. I think on chain it went down to like 200. It was just nuts. But today, all-time high. It was always going to happen. I think even Marty, you said like $1 billion of or over $1 billion of liquidations yesterday. Kind of that's always what happens for an all-time high, right? You need to have one of these big liquidation periods. How have you done over the last week?
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. I mean, I was up all weekend with the community just trading, and it was just a spectacle. One of the most insane weekends in crypto history, I would say. We all knew it was coming. We all were counting down to the Trump inauguration. We all knew that there would be some trickery and screwing around. And it happened. Like, I thought it would happen at 3 a.m. this morning, but it happened yesterday, thankfully, while we were awake. But yeah, beautiful, all-time high. Solana ran up, doing well, handled the Trump thing really well. And then here we are today. Once again, 3 a.m., we had another big pump. We had a new all-time high at 109. I think that the Trump executive orders will be very crypto-focused, a lot of them. People are front-running that. I think the bull run is in effect, really, guys. Global liquidity, which I track the most, bank balance sheets around the world, have ticked up 220 billion today. So QE is around the corner. I expect by the end of the week we'll have some evidence of changing policies in the US. We've got a new SEC chair. We've got a new Treasury secretary. It's going to be exciting. I mean, a lot of anxiety, a big shakeout, obviously. We knew they were coming with that flush, and they did it really to perfection. But 100,000 held. I called 99,300, and we came to 99,400. So a lot of people got in there, and congratulations to those that did, following liquidation levels. And here we go. I think we're up to the races. They're going to try some screwery before the inauguration, which is technically by the Constitution, 12 noon today, January 20th, which is 1 hour and 15 minutes from now. So
yeah, it's going to be a huge.
And before we go to CTO, I want to double tap into something Marty said. The Treasury has nothing in the kitty. They've left an entire mess. So it is like literally the US is technically bankrupt today. And I don't know if it's by design or otherwise. It's crazy.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah. So CTO, how have you been doing? How have the charts been looking? It's been up, down, up, down.
Oh, yeah. What a week, guys. Maybe I can show the chart directly here because, I mean, earlier today we were below 100K. Again, you know, felt like, could it be another fake? Because we had two fakes, right? We had two fakes above 100K. I think a lot of people, quite seasoned people, got smacked here, opening new long positions above 100K, thinking it was breakout, faked all the way down back to support. But, you know, support and resistance, we talked about it on previous shows, that everyone's a gangster until it's time to buy at support. Then a lot of people who were waiting for those levels, then when it's time to buy, they chicken out, right?
Yes, so
it's
true.
It's hard to place the order when it feels like, oh, but it might go lower, you know, and so on. But got nice orders at support. We made another breakout of 100K. And if we zoom in now, if today's candle closed like this is beautiful, guys, because then the previous resistance of 100K has now turned into support with 2 weeks down into the 100K level, big reaction back up, and that's like a textbook flipping resistance into support. So if we close like this here, guys, it looks fantastic. And I mean, Solana is very similar to this behavior. I guess we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, Bitcoin in particular rallying, I think, ahead of this Trump inauguration today. Like I said, there was a little bit of a wobble yesterday, mainly around some of the stuff that happened over the weekend with Trump and various meme coins. And we dipped down to like 9.5 and kind of bounced a huge amount of liquidations down there. This morning, it felt as though the bullishness was going to be right. We could get a executive order around Bitcoin today. We'd heard murmurings last week around that. Maybe, James, should we go through the agenda for today? Yeah, so here we are. Bitcoin all-time high pre-inauguration. America first, crypto tax breaks. We're going to get onto that. XRP flipping ETH. That's something that I would not expected to have said a couple months ago. Trump and Melania's meme coins on Solana. Solana hitting all-time high, which I said we'll get to. The explosion of Solana DeFi. We're seeing all-time high metrics across the board there. Eric Trump, obviously there's another Trump entity, this World Liberty Financial. There's a lot of speculation around that. Macro, obviously last couple of weeks been very macro-based. This week, less so. And then we'll get into AI coins. Okay, so yeah, Bitcoin. Bitcoin, it does feel as though it's all around the inauguration. A lot of talk about maybe a Bitcoin reserve. 60% probability right now on Polymarket that we're going to get some sort of Bitcoin reserve in the first 100 days. This does feel like that's gone up from 20% at the start of this year. So that's the odds of that happening have tripled basically over the course of the last 15 days. And that makes a lot of sense with what we've kind of seen with the Bitcoin price action. It does feel as though we're heading towards, well, we just hit all-time highs, but it's kind of breaking out of that range. James, what do you think here? Do you think we're going to head to an executive order here for a Bitcoin reserve? And does it even matter? Like, we're starting to see a huge amount of interest from a range of different parties at the moment.
So I know for a fact there are literally scores of executive orders ready to reverse everything that the previous administration did. It's kind of exactly what happened 4 years ago. They reverse the direction of what the previous party did. What is very interesting to us, though, and the reason, just as a reminder to the audience, the reason we talk politics is because it impacts our bags. We're not political. We have no dog in this, or dog in this fight, or whatever they say. But I do want to say, however, there's so much all happening at the same time. We have a perfect storm for Bitcoin. We've got this game theory happening all over the world, not only with nations, not only with US states, not only with treasuries. It's off the charts, way beyond my wildest expectations. And I'm pretty bullish on all of that stuff. But now we have, of course, Bitcoin is a bona fide asset class. You got institutions FOMOing in. You have inflation fears were kind of put to bed a little bit as well, which is good. And we're going to get regulatory clarity. I mean, everybody's in. And if you look at the photos from pre-inauguration bulls, the crypto bull last Friday, 3 days ago under David Sachs, you look at the pictures of Fred Thiel with Michael Saylor hanging out with the new administration. It's bonkers. Fred Thiel is the CEO of Marathon, by the way. And Saylor, of course, at MicroStrategy.
If it's not an executive order for Bitcoin, there's been other stuff speculated around for potential tax breaks, maybe no capital gains tax, maybe just tax breaks for US-based crypto firms. It's been spoken about like broad-based regulation. Obviously, David Sachs is leading it from a crypto standpoint. The idea of like reversing basically all of the SEC's different court cases at the moment. Any of those that you think are just like definite?
Yeah, well, the whole admin is pro-crypto. I think we definitely have a very good shot. We're talking 70%, 60%, like you mentioned, of getting a strategic Bitcoin reserve in 2025. But it takes time to do. I think what they might do as well, Lummis has been prepping the team, and they even had a breakfast, I think, on Saturday morning, about how they could tiptoe into doing this with just an executive order of having the authority to spend $10 billion. And then somehow wrangle the Bitcoin free from the whatever, the Department of Justice or wherever is holding the 50,000 Bitcoin right now under the US government. I think that's definitely going to happen. The tax thing, I don't know. because Bitcoin is technically a little bit like a store of value, like gold. If you make money in gold, you get taxed. It's not a currency per se in the eyes of the law. I think that's a stretch.
Yeah. I mean, there's been big rallies on things like XRP and Solana when that headlines, I think they were broken by Bloomberg midweek, that maybe there'd be something to do with tax breaks or like America First style crypto policy, where those like US based firms, of which XRP and Solana were spoken, and Circle was spoken about, could be in there. Marty, have you heard anything through the grapevine? You're good for a lot of these sort of rumors.
Yeah, I think strategic Bitcoin reserve, I would say, is an 80% chance. I think one of the executive orders is definitely, I would say, aimed at a strategic Bitcoin reserve. The question is, how will they do it? Obviously, we saw the Loomis bill, which could be expedited. That could be one of the executive orders, which means that the 200,000 that they've seized through possessions, marshals, and DOJ would automatically go in and start the reserve. So no new money would be needed. But then there's questions of, will they expect the Treasury to trade in their gold certificates? I mean, that's pretty controversial, but it's written in the act. That would be interesting. But I think there's no doubt it's happening. We've now got 11 states have put it into their constitution. 11 states in the US out of 54. That's a large majority. That's fifth of the US states, and I think that'll continue. Even California has now proposed it into law. So once again, it's the United States of America, guys. The states really control the game. And I think this is the time for them to step up. So the states will lead the way. I think that will happen for sure. I think it'll have a huge effect on the price of Bitcoin. And obviously all altcoins will follow. In my opinion, it's a done deal. The other executive orders are going to be interesting. Some people are speculating we might see stablecoin as legal tender. There's speculation that the XRP stablecoin might be chosen as well as USDC. There's a lot of speculation. I think everyone is building up to that day. So I think it's tomorrow, correct? We start getting executive orders. I have no doubt we'll see Bitcoin Strategic Reserve and one or two other crypto-focused executive orders, definitely stopping all SEC aggressive hostile acts against companies. That's going to end 100%, which could be very bullish as well. But all in all, a great time. I mean, we've waited for this. We've paid the price with the volatility. And here we are. Bitcoin is now an official asset class in crypto. We've become a crypto country in the US, and the world is embracing crypto. So here we go.
It does feel as though it's a bit of a seminal moment here. Look, there are 200 different executive orders Trump is saying he's going to do. A lot of them aren't crypto related, but a surprising number of them do appear to be crypto related. I think there'll be some surprises. As I don't think many people expected a meme coin from Trump and his family this weekend. There is clearly some cards being held close to their chest, and I think we could see some very, very bullish stuff. Yeah. They've got good advisors, which is what I like as well. Like the Bitcoin Magazine team, they've got David Sachs, clearly knows crypto, big on Solana, obviously. I feel as though there's going to be some good stuff coming.
I just remember one thing before we go to CTO. Just watching Saylor's face. I know Michael Saylor. He rarely smiles, and after he came out of Mar-a-Lago, his face was beaming for like 2 or 3 days.
Really?
So he knows something is up. So sometimes you can read body language and tea leaves and such, but he's normally very, very stoic.
Yeah, he is actually. Right. Yeah, there was this crypto ball over the weekend at Mar-a-Lago, which most people in crypto I think were at. CTO, I think one of the main beneficiaries, at least over the last week, on the back of this has been XRP and Solana. Should we bring up both of those and then we can?
Let's do that. Can I just add 2 things? Like this is insane. Like that people are actually putting their money. Majority is putting their money that this will actually happen. It seemed like a crazy dream just a couple of just months ago, just a year ago. Who thought that this could realistically happen? And here we are. Majority is actually betting on yes. That is spectacular. And the other thing that I wanted to add, that it is not on the screen. I can share it later. That the thing with the meme coin here, I know a lot of people were upset with the Trump meme coin and everything, but I see it a little bit differently. I feel that he's putting skin in the game. Like say that some SEC or a new position in some kind of way, want to go after DeFi and crypto and everything. Okay, that's going to be really difficult now when the president has actually issued the meme coin.
Yeah.
So that's how I see it. I did not expect that at all. I realized after reading that there was probably a lot of people who knew this would come. I did not know that. I was kind of sick. So for the one day I didn't go up at 6 a.m. Of course, Trump had launched the meme coin, but it was a surprise to me. And I see it like that actually Trump has stuck out his neck, put some skin in the game here, and in a way a little bit protected a part of crypto here.
Yeah, I have to say it's one of the most wild stuff that I've seen. We'll get onto it, but I kind of agree
with that later. Yeah, let's bring up Solana. So here we have the Sol to USD chart, and it was very similar to the Bitcoin chart. It's not difficult to identify where the support level was here, and it hit several times before. We talked about it on the show. We talked that we were buying here, basically, and the support held again, and it shot up, made new all-time highs. And, of course, this is looking fantastic, and it's similar on the Sol to BTC chart. So, I mean, it's not that difficult. Like, the analysis part often isn't so difficult. What is difficult to actually execute on it, because when it goes down, it feels like it will never end, and so on and so forth. So the XRP chart is an interesting one. We almost have to zoom out in terms of time frames, but XRP has been, that's actually an even longer history of XRP. So XRP is in this incredible project that's basically at the same price versus BTC as 11 years ago, or what is it, 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago now. So there's almost no other asset that has actually held the price against BTC, but XRP actually has. This price here is December 14. Now we're January 2025. So if we skip that long-term perspective and just look at the price, of course, we've had incredible pump here from support, but I feel that XRP has for a long time been easier to analyze on the XRP to BTC chart, because it is traded here between XRP and BTC. You can see it here that's where the support and resistance levels tend to come up, and we're very close to the next major resistance level, which is up here. And should that break out, of course, the upside is pretty big. I don't hold any XRP. I've never been a fan, really. But, you know, everything's a meme coin now, and whether it does anything or not is kind of secondary almost.
Someone will be going to 10,000 this week. 10,000 XRP. It's trading at 3. The TikToks and XRP are wild. But, you know, this is now the third biggest asset in crypto, and it's nearly at ETH. ETH is around 400 billion FDV. XRP's and we're talking about in FDV terms here. XRP is, I think, is about 330 billion, something along those lines. Yeah,
that's correct. 327.
10% move lower in XRP. So 10% move lower in ETH, 10% move higher in XRP. XRP flips ETH.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you think? Did anyone think that can happen? It feels.
Well, let's talk for a second, and Marty, maybe you can talk about the XRP Ripple technology and how it hasn't pretty much changed in 20 years. But they only have 80,000 users, so you calculate that fully diluted market cap divided by 80,000. It's 7 times more expensive than Cardano, which is the most expensive chain. Just using that fundamental metric, so it's pretty nuts. But
yeah,
Marty,
I mean, XRP is. I was there in the beginning. I remember sitting in an office clearly in Miami when I was working as a CTO for a startup when XRP was launched. You know, it was definitely launched as the second project before Ethereum, and it was deemed as better than Bitcoin. So XRP has got a long legacy of being, you know, bettering Bitcoin. It was trying to be Ethereum just trying to be Bitcoin with some kind of programmatic dynamic elements. And obviously it went up to $3 before, and it's returned home. The problem with XRP is their technology has not really changed since then, and that was in 2014. So it's an extremely old technology. It's never been tested. I'm looking right now. It's running at 33.36 TPS, 33 transactions per second. So it's extremely untested. It runs around the same speed as Ethereum, a little faster than Bitcoin, but it's down there. It's a dinosaur. And it's returned home. It's got a huge army of investors that have been there from the beginning, have a lot of, sort of empathy for the legal problems it faced, because right away, just like Facebook's DM project, it was just stamped out the gate and brought down for regulatory reasons. And I think there was a little bit of a sympathy pump back to $3. We'll have to see now what happens. Can it actually perform under the load that they expect will be the question. I don't believe so. One of the executive orders might identify this. Will XRP be chosen in the banking sector as a banking proxy, as a back office mover and settlement of value? Will the stable coin be made legal tender? There's a lot of speculation around XRP, which drove it back to the $3, and it continues today. It's a cult. Let's just be serious. It's a cult. I don't think anybody who owns XRP even understands XRP, its ledger, its technology, how it works, how many nodes it has, is it decentralized, things like that. They don't really care. It's like Cardano. They don't really care. They hold XRP and they're married to the coin. My personal opinion, I was there in the beginning. XRP might be better than Ethereum, but both XRP and Ethereum are now old and haven't evolved. So they bear the same problems. They can't handle mainstream adoption.
And it's a blockchain. It's a general ledger. It's not a true blockchain as well.
It's not emotional.
We were all wrong. We were all wrong. This thing's gone to $320 billion.
The point is, if Trump had launched Trump coin on XRP or Ethereum, they would have broken. And it would not have gone to 80 billion in 4 hours.
And what's also important is everything. This is what people miss, though. Things happen at the margin, right? If you go back 7 years and you compare Bitcoin to XRP 7 years ago, and you look at the gains that are made, again, if you capture this at a point in time, you lost because you've gone nowhere for 7 years while Bitcoin has gone up 4,000%. Now, that's one fact. The second fact is as well, XRP and Ripple have been, XRP has been the cash bag to fund Ripple for the last 8 years. They were dumping 18% of their tokens on the market every single year, and people were buying them up and they were funding the business. So if you look at the relative market cap from the past to today, it's a lot bigger because they've been raining down tokens for 7-8 years or forever. And they've got another 45 billion, 50 billion to go. So this thing is just never going to go anywhere. It's
very good point. The FTV is much higher because the Treasury obviously has the majority of it. That's part of why the court case happened, right? They said it was centralized. I mean, the XRP Treasury about 50% of the coins. So if they were deemed not to be centralized, then I think a lot of people can get away with it.
I have a little alpha. I see XRP sort of as a store of value, actually, and I know that projects like Zeus are actually looking at making ZXRP to enable it to be moved and to become a little bit more performant. So it's seen as a quality asset. You can't deny that. But can it be used as a global settlement layer? I don't think so. It's got the same problem.
What I'm surprised they haven't done is actually to take the brand, because the brand is fantastic for many people. I mean, not for me, but a lot of people really love Ripple XRP, right? I'm surprised they haven't thrown out the entire software stack, brought in a completely new, you fork Solana or something and 100%. Say that this is XRP version 3 or something like that, and then run with it. I'm surprised.
CTO, your speculation is clear because there is rumors, and in my opinion, Ripple should IPO. Ripple should become a publicly traded company on the stock market. The connection between XRP and Ripple is unclear. It's not a security. Now we know it doesn't represent Ripple or ownership in Ripple, but people think it does, and that needs to be made clear. I think Ripple, like Chainlink and a couple of these other utility coins, should just become publicly traded companies. They're companies. They're not decentralized projects. They're in a total different asset class to Solana, Sui, even Bitcoin. These are companies, they're corporations, and they should just go the regular route. I'm not sure why they're messing around with this, actually.
You make a really good point, which is that maybe the best use case for Ripple right now, because I agree with you that the that it's going to come under stress now if it tries to prove that it's good at the technology side of stuff. At the moment, there's only a stablecoin on XRP like a couple of weeks ago, right? A couple of months ago. There's barely any users. It's more of like a meme or a promise. But could it be a store of value? Bitcoin hasn't failed at its use as a payments network, but it's also seen as like a more of a store of value sort of asset now. Is that like the bull case for XRP here? That it doesn't really matter if the tech doesn't work. Now it's just an accepted form of currency. Maybe that is it. But I do think it's going to be interesting to see. It's been seen as a bit of a US Trump trade, right? Like, he's going to suddenly unlock. We're going to replace the whole SWIFT banking system with XRP. All the banks are going to use it. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think XRP is going to 10,000. But I do think that it shows one thing that showed me is that anything can happen in crypto. It's not always about the tech, particularly even for L1s. Sometimes it's about the meme. It's about the cult. CTO, did you ever look at it on its legs up and think, am I wrong on this? Is this thing going to go?
Yeah, I did not think it would run this much. I haven't made, I haven't bought any, I haven't made any money on this bull run for XRP. I didn't think it would run like this.
Yeah.
But I still think, there is a difference between Bitcoin store of value being this kind of decentralized narrative. No one can change it. No one can touch it. That's just not the case for XRP. One guy can go and shut it down if they want, because it's connected to, brand-wise, if nothing else. Can always argue about validators and so on, but if the key players there would decide to close it, they could close it. And that's not so easy to do with Bitcoin. So I think there is a difference there. I don't think the technology is good enough to become like an actually used layer one, similar to Solana or even Ethereum. I don't think so. So yeah, I'm not gonna buy any. I'm happy to miss out on that opportunity if it goes to $1 gazillion.
So yeah, we will all miss. Yeah, but
I bought 1500 XRP when it first came out back in 20 whatever, just for fun. I still hold it. I have some XRP just from the old time. I just wanted you guys to know, looking at the Nakamoto efficient of XRP, it's over 35. XRP is like, if sufficiently decentralized categorization doesn't even come near. So it's absolutely centralized. CTO is right. And that reflects in the Nakamoto coefficient.
And for something to be a store of value, it needs to be hard. The inflation on Bitcoin is 0.8%, and the inflation on XRP is forever. 50 billion tokens will rain down every quarter.
Thing trades where it does, because it clearly does trade. It's about to potentially flip ETH. That is a crazy move, even though we've not been as bullish on ETH on this show. Let's get on to one of our favorite coins, as we said, Solana. So this time last week, I think I was saying, God, I didn't expect it to hit 169. I thought Bitcoin dominance would go down. I thought Solana was the trade here as we start to see AI memes start to flourish. I was a week off. Solana did go up and hit all-time highs. Bitcoin dominance came down, although ETH hasn't really helped there. And a lot of that sort of narrative is back. Mainly this weekend was about memes rather than AI. Trump, both him and his wife released meme coins over the weekend. Trump's happened on Friday after that crypto bull. Melania's was released on Sunday. The Trump coin's FDV actually briefly crossed Dogecoin. So it briefly became the biggest meme coin in the market, if we're not including XRP, by FDV. And then I think Melania's came out and hit around 10 billion FDV, but you saw unbelievable amounts of volume start to come into Solana. Solana DEX volume hit all-time high, TVL hit all-time high, Fees hit all-time high. It was very PvP. So if you owned any other Solana-based altcoin, everything dropped about 30 to 40% as everyone started trading Solana. Sorry, everyone tried trading Trump. But what did you make of this, James? Like, kind of a crazy move, but kind of what CTO says, maybe it is like a anything goes sort of season now for crypto.
First of all, I'm very profoundly aware that both sides, left and right, were very much triggered by this. So I understand that. But again, we're talking crypto here. So there's a couple of things. On the pro side of this, it is the meme coin thing has become a cultural phenomenon. You've got this guy, Mark Cuban, is now pumping them like crazy. It does help build communities. It is a catalyst for publicity, and it does increase awareness. Now, at the same time, on the negative side, okay, we don't know who is behind these things. I know for a fact the incumbent president was in meetings for the last 72 hours nonstop. So he does not control his Twitter account, and he is not launching coins. Okay. Somebody else is doing that for him. Who they are, I don't know. Apparently the Trump team is a very separate organization from the Melania team, which may not even be related to the organization at all. I mean, I always had a theory that maybe it's Barron on his phone, the kid or whatever. I don't know. There is a perception of grift. I'm very well aware of that. I'm very well aware of the strong backlash. I saw it yesterday. I understand. But we have to highlight the news and how crazy the world is. And yes, anybody that goes and buys these things, literally, some people probably made money, but you got to time them very carefully. You know they're going to go down. Okay, it's just all artificial. And again, very, very important to look at things like fully diluted market cap, look at the wallet holdings, look at the movements. Do not be in it when the selling begins, or maybe it already has, and I don't monitor these things.
No, I'll give some details on that, actually. So 80% is held by the team, of which is unclear who the team exactly is. But if you think it's just Donald Trump, then his net wealth went up by a few tens of billions, probably about 30 to 40 billion as we talk right now. That is going to be vesting linearly after 3 months. The current market cap is actually much lower than that. I think only around maybe 10 to 15 billion. Yeah, something like that. But the FTV obviously then is around 50. You're not interested in this at all, James? You don't think this could be like Trump launching a meme coin before his inauguration? Do you not think that like he's going to care about this? Like he might be pumping this? I don't know. I look at it. It definitely interests me. I don't know if it's like, I just don't know what to make of it. But is this going to go to zero? Will he let that go to zero? Do you think he's going to care about it at all? Marty, what did you think?
I mean, I was very much involved. I got in right in the beginning. I just my community was randomly all over it, so we all got in right at the beginning. So obviously, I'm up huge. I'm never going to sell. I think it's a great collector's piece. But guys, understand that the hardest thing in crypto is to fair launch. Everybody has tried. To fair launch means to put out a token that doesn't get sniped. In other words, hostile, malicious actors don't buy it early on using technology, bots, and then have a sort of a ability to dump it at any moment. This coin was launched. Look, I don't care. I'm apolitical. I'm a Solana guy, so it's the ultimate liveness test of Solana. This was the greatest test in blockchain history. On the day that he was doing his speech, where bandwidth was already reduced probably to 25% of the global internet, he launched the biggest coin in the world, which did, I think, 70 billion in 2 days. Unheard of amounts of action. Phantom were doing 8 million requests a minute. Phantom wallet. That's for Solana, Base, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. Remember, Phantom is multi-chain. 8 million requests a minute were being handled. Everything was going really smoothly until halfway through his speech, the Millennia coin came out and wasn't well architected. They used another company and they released 100% of the supply. It got sniped, and that sniping really was the end. That was just terrible. I don't like the sniping. But let's go back to the Trump coin. Ignore the political thing. This is just a highly, highly effective test. They did it well. They did what I call a token generation event, which means they only put out 20% of the supply. That means that, and they did it silently. They didn't promote it. If you promote, you're going to get snipers. They did it out of the blue, which was very effective. So it instantly got enough value that snipers, it doesn't become economically viable for them. So it's extremely hygienic contract, which is good. They only put out 20% of the supply, so it can fluctuate. Now it's got a nice base. Snipers are out, and they hold 80%. This is just like any other utility project. They do TGEs. I looked through the tokenomics. It looks great. They use the same company that did the playing cards, so they're an established company. They're not like Sahil or some other celebrity coin person. To me, like James said, this is a different form of thing. I wouldn't see it as a meme, really, even though he calls it a meme. It's like a political token. These are PolFi, Politify, whatever you want to call it. This, and I think other world leaders are going to see this and try to do the same thing. It's just a new democracy. It's just a new way of doing it. And the test on Solana was just outrageously successful. I mean, the chain never went down. They did have issues, which they found in Jupiter, in Jido, so other sort of tertiary projects that live between the user and the chain, suffered congestion, obviously Phantom Wallet as well. But overall, lessons learned were fantastic. There will be more tests. It was truly a magnificent test of Solana. And I think Solana stock goes up today because of this. You couldn't do this on any other chain. So who cares what it was? Who cares what it was? Who cares that it's Trump? It doesn't matter. A massive coin was launched with incredible volume, and these chains were tested, and the internet was tested to another level. What we did learn was the internet, the public internet, cannot handle this stuff. We need a dedicated private L1 blockchain network. And I've been telling you guys about 00, and there will be other initiatives out of SUI to create private, dedicated blockchain networks so that you don't have this ridiculous routing around the world for blockchain transactions, which makes sort of an unfair playing field for people closest to the leader, to the actual node, which gets the request. People around that geographically will have an advantage, and that's the problem with the public internet. So overall, as a technical thing, it was a great test. I'm not sure where its future is. I'm not going to sell it. A lot of people think that it's, it might become the greatest meme coin or go into the top 10 of crypto. Who knows? It's a great test. Anyway, that's my spiel.
The thing is, I mean, you said this in our chat, CTO. If it doubles here, I mean, it'll be $100 billion FTV. Solana's FTV.
I mean, it was yesterday. It was half the FTV of Solana,
which is just insane. And that's kind of what we saw, which is like all the other coins had to basically nuke because it's just too big almost for Solana, which just makes me really bullish on Solana because, like you said, Marty, it survives. Some of the front end broke slightly when Melania dropped her coin yesterday and the whole market nuked. But in general, the chain never went down. CTO, what did you think of all of this?
Yeah, I mean, I was delighted to see that this was done on Solana, obviously. And it kind of felt like the last nail in the coffin for Ethereum almost. Like the biggest meme coin launch ever. And they did it on Solana. So, yeah, I was quite delighted to see this, actually. And I was shocked that it went that big. Of course, it has to kind of back up a little bit after, it kind of got too big too fast. It cannot be like half the size of Solana after one day. But I was delighted. And I don't know where it will go from here, but I think I can predict one thing, and that is that a lot of people are going to do meme coins after this. I mean, if Trump and then Melania has done this, and there's going to come a lot of people doing meme coins, and not all of them will be particularly successful. That's another. So I watch out a little bit, guys.
I think there's some crazy stats as well that happened yesterday. Like history was made for crypto and blockchain. First of all, Phantom Wallet alone did 11 million transactions in 24 hours. One little wallet. The chain itself did like 35 billion in DEX volume, which is insane. The amount of fees and DEX volume that Solana made yesterday is smashed every single record under the sun. And the month isn't even over if we just look at the monthly data. I mean, everything was completely, new records. Solana daily revenue, I think 60 million yesterday. And it's more than double the previous high. It's just, everything was just smashed yesterday. So when it comes to, when you hear the people like Mert and others talking about Solana. This is the stress test from hell, and it survived. And that's the most important thing. Okay.
Yeah. My main takeaway from this, because, as I've said many times on the show, I'm big into some of the memes and AI stuff, and a lot of that stuff got completely nuked when this coin came out, as did, it bounced back okay, and then Melania dropped her coin and we nuked again. I think that Solana is going to go through a period of huge growth here. I think raise your Solana targets after this. I think you're going to see a huge amount of people come in and do different stuff on there. Trump has just basically given it the seal of approval. You'll see a Solana ETF. You'll see institutional adoption. Like this is going to be massive, I think, for Sol. Even if you think Trump doing it was a grift himself, like this is now got a seal of approval, which I think will allow a lot of people to start using it. The other point is that I just came away with thinking, like, how can I own more of the casino if I don't own Solana, which I own Solana too. And JLP was one, which we've spoken about on this show before, which is the perp protocol of Jupiter. And you own like the perp fees essentially in a pool of Bitcoin, ETH, and Solana. The other one was Radium. Like Radium here made $32 million of fees. That's double double Tether yesterday. This coin trades at $2 billion, which is like compared to Uniswap, which is ETH's biggest, which trades at 15 billion, right, or 14 billion. So it's, I think the FTV is actually slightly higher. It's more like 3.5, but it's roughly about a quarter the size of Uniswap, and it's making, where is Uniswap on this list? Yeah, 9 versus making 3x the fees. Like Solana DeFi to me suddenly looked like, well, maybe this is the time where that re-rates as well. Like if Sol starts to really push on, I started looking at Jupiter's the other one, but Jupiter doesn't make any fees on its swaps, right? And it really does it on its futures. So this was one because Radium has a buyback I looked at, and I looked kind of down the list. Like I just feel like Solana DeFi again could be a very interesting play here because DeFi coins have been largely boring for a lot of this cycle, but suddenly now we're about to see a huge amount of activity, I think. And I think also Trump's about to unlock maybe DeFi in the US. Like if you said, Marty, we get legal tender for stable coins, I think DeFi basically becomes free game in that world as well.
Yeah, and just to do some TradFi math on this as well for Radium, if you take 56 million multiplied by 365, what do you get? 20 and 21 million, 21 billion.
30
the market cap is 2 billion.
Yeah.
So it's trading at a tiny fraction of its revenue. And who knows how profitable it is? Probably extremely profitable. It's insane.
Well,
this doesn't exist anywhere else in the world.
Sorry, just interject. It takes 12% of those fees and it buys back Ray. So actually, it's 12% of any of the fees that it makes on a daily basis will be used just to buy back the coin.
Well, if that's the case, though, let the bought it all back in the next 3 months.
Yeah,
using those numbers. So,
and that is the key. Actually, I didn't know. We chatted a little before, right? And I didn't know that, Mando, until you wrote it. I didn't know they were doing buybacks, and I'm baffled that not more projects are doing that. I mean, traditional stock companies like, I don't know, Apple and big traditional companies, they have done this for forever. You take some of the money, buy back your own stock. What happens? Probably the stock price will go up as a result. And that's completely legit. Just fill out the right SEC forms and everything. And you can take your billions and pump your own stock. That's legit in traditional markets. And why are not more projects that are insanely profitable doing that? I don't know, really. But if Radium is doing that, I'm interested.
Yeah. Uniswap, there's been a lot of talk about maybe Uniswap would do it, put on a fee switch, but then they kind of and they never have. Radium's doing it. So the biggest DEX on Solana is doing this at a time when I just kind of feel like that's about to explode. Marty, you were about to say something as well.
Yeah, just a couple of other highlights. I mean, during the whole Trump experience, Tether sent $1 billion of USDT to Solana, and over the course of last week and during the events, Circle minted $2.5 billion of USDC on Solana. So what this does is just attract so much more liquidity. Solana's TVL, remember, Trump is on Solana. Therefore, the Trump TVL is added to the Solana TVL. So this just shows you, just remember, these are tokens. Tokens can represent anything. The word in English, token, means to represent something. So right now they represent potentially nothing or the interests of Trump. But in the future, you have to just extend your mind to understand that these will represent real world assets. These will represent equities. These will represent corporate stock. It's about the mechanism. The mechanism is functioning flawlessly. And I think together with that and the Bitwise bull bear case, you saw that came out on January 16th. Bitwise had an independent company do a Solana bull bear base case study. They came up with the investment case for Solana with a bear case of $2,318 for Sol and a bull case of $6,636 by 2030. We're trading at $251 now.
CJ, can we bring up those Sol DeFi charts like Jupiter and Radium maybe?
I just don't think people are bullish enough, and they focus a little bit on what the tokens represent right now. You've got to look at the technology of token economies. The tokens eventually will represent great things. How do these token economies work? They are working amazingly. These things are going to exacerbate the US capital markets. The ability to raise money has transformed since this Trump coin.
In fact, in one day,
all over the world, they're going to go, we can raise billions in a day. Right now, it's almost literally possible to do that. Go ahead,
Marty, James. You're dead right, because NASDAQ does about 300 billion every day in volume. Solana did 60 billion in one day. So you already have a blockchain doing 20% of what the NASDAQ does. And the vision for Anatoly, since day one of the things that got me fascinated very early on was the fact that they wanted to replace NASDAQ. That was the whole mission for Solana. And they're getting there. That's the story, everybody. That's the big story today.
Yeah, so let's start with Radium that we talked about. I bought some today, actually, because not only do we have these fundamentals, but we have a perfect, picture-perfect TA as well. I was monitoring this from before. It was a range here. It broke out. It retested. It held. So it doesn't get prettier than this. That's Radium. Then we...
the one they've got an edge
exactly
this week, so maybe it'd be good to know after that. Yeah,
exactly. So Jupiter is a little bit different here. It's kind of still in this range. So from a TIA perspective, normally you want to buy either at support, which was down here, and now I doubt it will come back there with all the bullishness for Solana, but who knows if it does. That would be the best place to buy. The second best place would be to buy the breakout from here, if that happens. Right, it's in the middle of the range. So that's Jupiter.
And remember, Jupiter has a 30% burn probably happening in a few days. Yeah, that's big news too.
Jupiter doesn't have a buyback, but it's no VCs in Jupiter. Remember, it was done, and the team is burning 30% of the coins that they were given. But they have their big airdrop coming. Most people, I think, who's traded on Solana will know about Jupiter. It's one of the most popular front ends, but I do think that one is going to be interesting. The main thing there that I like on Jupiter, I've mentioned it a few times, is JLP, which is because they don't charge for spot, they don't get the fees from spot. That like 55% of all their volumes are through Radium. So Radium gets the kind of the fees for the LP there, but they do have a perp platform. I've mentioned JLP a few times, which earns a ton of money in fees. In fact, yesterday it was one of its highest fee day ever on that huge move in Solana. That if you bring up the JLP chart, I don't know if you have that one.
Let me bring it up.
Yes, some other things to bring up also is Sol Strategies. It's now, I mean, you can't believe the chart.
Yeah,
we've seen it.
Well, do JLP just to show JLP. Like, I don't think I've seen a better chart ever in crypto. Like the sharp ratio insane. Yeah, so it's not, it's only I think 60% of it is risky coins, 40% of it stable coins, but it's outperformed Bitcoin, all the majors over the last year. Never really has a down day. The other one, so this is an interesting one to look at, and then Sol Strategies is the other like Sol adjacent play here. Marty, you were the first one.
Pull up the chart on Sol Strategies.
Hodl.cn.
model. There we go. Any of those.
Exactly. Let's see. I don't know which of the tickets is the best. This one, maybe.
The Canadian one's open today.
Yeah. So it's up, obviously. This is today, right? Yeah. This is incredible, guys. Absolutely spectacular.
Other thing to mention is Radium now has perpetuals, by the way, guys. Radium has perpetuals.
Yeah, it does.
Well.
Yeah.
So, James, you were the first person I know that started talking about this one. When was it? It was back
September, 16 cents. It was it's all documented too. It's a good one.
Oh yeah, 16 cents. Now it's $5. So that is, ladies and gentlemen, that's 3,200%.
The 38.
It's funny because this position now for me is larger than all of my Sol alt positions. One trade eclipsed them all. We're including Jupiter with tons of airdrops, Radium, Nosana, all that stuff. Smoked it completely. So again, there are still little gems out there. And I know, Marty, you had the lady on your channel too, didn't you?
Yes, I had Leah Wald. I mean, people must understand Sol Strategies is the CEO and founder is Leah Wald, who was responsible for overseeing the first Bitcoin ETF, spot ETF application for VanEck. And when VanEck, focused entirely on Bitcoin, she fell in love with Solana when she went to Breakpoint and met Toli and broke off on her own and started Sol Strategies, which is basically doing what MicroStrategies, just using that model, but using Solana as the reserve asset and investing in the Solana ecosystem, but primarily buying Solana and investing in the ecosystem, but also running validators, so making yield. So when you hold Sol Strategies and Solana volume goes, you earn a dividend. And she's listed on the NASDAQ. It's just a matter of time. They're also going to be included in some of these ETFs that invest in crypto-based companies. She's an extremely ambitious, brilliant, genius woman that is following in Michael Saylor's footsteps and is amazing. She also just hired an incredible new CTO his posts are amazing. Sol Strategies is one to watch. It's going to list on the NASDAQ. You can buy the pink slip now. It'll auto convert when they list on the NASDAQ. I think you need to expose fast.
But also bear in mind, everybody, don't rush out and buy this. It's gone up like 3,600% since September. So it's on a big move. There's another one that's also very interesting, which and shout out to the Canadians because they're making all the right moves. There's a company called Neptune Digital. And what I like about them is it's another Canadian firm, but they have a mixed bag. You can see they are approximately 60-something% Bitcoin. They have a big bag of Solana and they have SpaceX. So I use this as kind of my SpaceX exposure too.
Look at that.
Which is fascinating.
I like these sort of ones where they're conglomerates of future plays. So Sol is slightly different, it sounds like, than the Bitcoin in trade. They're going to be doing a bit more with the Solana essentially, which I like. That allows.
And the validators make so much money as well, which know, even like just look at yesterday.
Exactly.
The validators are taking a big piece.
One interesting thing I wanted you guys to bring up John Charbonneau. If you don't follow him, John Charb, a great guy. He did analysis on Solana versus ETH, economic security. Economic security has always been a big issue. Well, now at the price of Solana, even now at 250, there's actually more value staked and locked up on Solana than on ETH. 389 million Sol are locked at 250, which is greater than 34 million ETH locked at 3,200. So Solana actually has better economic security right now than Ethereum. People should know that. So mute argument.
Let's talk about ETH a little bit here because obviously got smashed by Solana this week. ETH BTC hit a new low, although it has bounced. The other Trump entity, which was in the comments as well before, different entity, which did do a token sale over the last 24 hours too, and did an extra private sale, is called World Liberty Financial. This is not a meme coin. They are trying to do something in DeFi. It's yet unclear. It seems to be kind of a borrow and lending platform, although it sounds like stuff is going to be unveiled. It's been tied to Aave, Chainlink, and ETH. This is on ETH, this platform. And they were buying ETH today and yesterday. yesterday when Look on Chain posted, well, Liberty Financial just spent 20 million buying ETH. Eric Trump said, wait till you see what they do tomorrow. There is a lot of speculation here that there could be something bigger coming out here, some sort of endorsement of ETH even still, although it's unclear. Do you think there's any sort of glimmer of hope that the Trumps are going to come in and do something crazy for ETH too? Vitalik was having a little bit of a existential crisis over the week, it felt like, and donned a Milady PFP and just said, look, they're going to change all the senior management of the Ethereum Foundation and make wholesale changes to the culture, all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's actually started by Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump, the two sons, and then also with Zach Witkoff. If you don't know, that's the son of Steve Witkoff, who's Donald Trump's best friend. So it's kind of a real nice family little company. They took Aave open source and forked it. So it's a complete copy of Aave. They sold out their first initial offering of their tokens on ETH. They're accumulating crypto, they're accumulating Ethereum, Chainlink, Aave, others. They're going all balls to the wall, guys. This is a real deal.
Yeah, it's definitely tied to projects, and there have been some people who have been saying you should just buy the coins that they've bought, which is, I think, Chainlink, XRP, Aave, ETH, Bitcoin. They're also weirdly, very, very strangely, getting massive donations from Justin Sun, who is the kind of
TRX, you're right.
Yeah, yes. So they're going to buy Justin Sun, and I think Justin Sun's putting about $75 million into this thing. Now, Justin Sun was getting sued by the SEC, or still is being sued by the SEC. So he's definitely a polarizing figure in crypto, not someone that I would pick to be kind of the cornerstone of a Trump-based project. Do you think this is going to be a whole load of nothing, James, or do you think this could be something? This is what ETH people are holding on to, that somehow Trump is going to save ETH via ETH DeFi, and this is going to be the vehicle for that to happen?
No, I think it's just convenience. It's what they have their on-ramps, their rails for, because I know that in the past there were a lot of NFTs sold for ETH in the old days, and they probably just still have those existing rails. And maybe they consider it a fair store value. I do want to address one thing. There's a comment here. This show turned into a Sol influencers pumping window. So we spend half our time always talking about Bitcoin, and we talk about the leading assets. And just as a reminder to people in the audience, 73% of all transactions across 40,000 blockchains happen on one chain. Okay, that's why we talk about it. If there was another chain that did this much, we'd be talking about that too. So we are not pumping, but we are trying to uncover alpha and what is the life-changing asset. I've been talking about Solana since March 2021, exclusively, high conviction, nothing else. I never wavered, all right? So this is not a Sol influencers pumping window, but I'd like you at Gold to chime in on that, because we talk about winning assets. That's all I do. I talk about Tesla. I don't talk about Tesla here because it's much more of a crypto show. This is important. CTO.
100%. I would love that there comes another one tomorrow that isn't discovered yet, and we could do this whole journey one more time. Perhaps tomorrow something even better is implemented, and perhaps we discover it early again if we're lucky, and then we were going to talk about that. It's just that I don't know anything better at this point. That's why I'm interested in it. It's a lot of the action that's happening there. Yeah. But yeah, I would love something new comes along. We've talked about Sui a lot. I'm just not convinced that Sui is replacing Solana just yet.
The way I see it, the way I get this a lot, guys, when I'm hosting my spaces, obviously I get people come up with this as well. At the end of the day, you've just got to look at adoption, and we've got to move away from speculation. Crypto is 2025. We cannot just invest in speculative assets. There are already fundamentally viable metrics in some of these technologies that, as technology investors, I am drawn to. Solana is the first chain to have fundamental value. It's making money with huge adoption. It's not saying it's going to, it's not developing and one day might, it's not using theoretical numbers. It's got actual data we can finally use. And that's why I focus on Solana right now. Sui is wonderful. I have a massive bag. I think Sui is following in Solana's footsteps. Every success Solana has against Ethereum, Sui will follow in the wake. Okay, it's pretty much line for line doing the same game plan. I love Sui. It may ultimately be faster or better, but right now it's 64 TPS versus Solana running 1500. It just, Solana is breaking through the wall, I like to call it, like in football, and Sui is running behind. But if you look at any other chain, guys, they're all running under 100 TPS. It's all theoretical. So it's a speculative investment.
Yeah,
that's the way I look at it.
And just for perspective as well, Solana's 8 million daily active users, far more, 3x more than the next biggest player, which is Near, which does shopping coupons in Singapore and stuff. And the daily active users on Sui is 600,000. So it's way more than 10x. And then transactions, it leaves everybody else in the dust. So that's just some fundamentals, everybody. We will always talk about where the leaders are. Mando, what are your thoughts?
I'm not a Solana maxi. Like I've come on this show several times since I joined this show and been like, oh, I like Bitcoin here. I like Ether. Like, for example, I like Bitcoin a lot over the summer period. And as we were coming out of September, I said to be wary on Sol ahead of the unlocks. And then recently I've been like, this is super undervalued, that this looks like the trade. That being said, like I've only one small time when the ETH got its ETF was I like, all right, it has this window now to outperform. And it didn't really perform. Like every single time I've thought about going into ETH, it's let me down. When I started this show this time last year, I think it was this time last year, Solana was around 100, it's 2.5x. Bitcoin was around 40, it's 2.5x. ETH I think was, it was at 2,500. 2,000. So it just tells you, like, thank God we've been saying this. Thank God we've been telling you to get into Solana. It's been one of the best trades. Thank God we tell you to get into Sui. But at the same time, I'm not a maxi. If you're making comments like that, it's because you have a bag that hasn't performed as well. The one that we've all missed, as I said in the show, was XRP. We all missed it. And I hold my hands up and say, we didn't make money on that. It was not a trade which I think any of our fundamental drivers would have caught. We're saying we would have caught it on like the meme sort of route. But I'm also fully of the view, and I actually kind of believe this, that Sol will be replaced one day. ETH got replaced. ETH was the best thing since sliced bread last cycle, and it got replaced. So I am fully of the view that some point in the future, we're not just going to be on Solana for our payment rails. We could have something else. And when that happens, I'll be ready.
Go ahead, James.
No, well, one of the things I've always said, there could be a teenager somewhere in a basement coding up a new blockchain that is revolutionary, that will destroy everything. Bitcoin, Solana, ETH, you name it. We don't know. What we do know is change is going to come very quickly over the next 2 to 3 years. So as I say, always be prepared for that change. And that's why we all look at data.
A couple of other points just for people to focus on why we talk about Solana. First of all, there was a lot of haters going, Solana's metrics are fake. They fake their numbers. After the Trump thing, you can say what you want. People are now, that is mute. People can now see that Solana is reaching those numbers. It does have 5 million users. It made that amount of money in 24 hours. So that argument can be moved along. I never want to hear it again. Solana's metrics are real. Okay. The other thing is, on the show, we can talk about speculative new things, which is a small part of our bag. But if I'm investing large amounts of my money, I need now, we can say it clearly, I need over 1,000 validators, over 1,000 TPS over 30 days. If you don't have adoption and you don't have sufficient decentralization, I don't put a lot of money behind you. Sui has 108 validators. It's doing 39 TPS. It's a wonderful speculative asset. And so is the others, even Cardano. But Solana is the only blockchain other than Ethereum that is now worthy of the discussion of large investment. In my mind, I'm not screwing around. I'm a technology investor. So let's be clear. The Trump coin kind of muted a lot of those arguments. It didn't go down, and the numbers are real. So start to listen to those. Don't be married to a token. Do you want to make money or not? That's where we are today. This show is about making money, not losing money. Okay?
So talking about serious investors that we are, we should probably move on to AI coins and FartCoin.
Yes.
So can I
How is
just
it
show one last
possible?
thing on 1 second on the Ethereum chart before we move on to the serious FartCoin investments?
I'm
So
not in
here's
FartCoin, guys. I'm so bummed.
Here's the Ethereum to BTC chart over the past 2 years. So, you know, the regular updates I've done over the past 2 years, it always says it looks bad. So guys, there's not that much to talk about here. You know, if this pointed in the other direction, there would be a lot to talk about, but it doesn't. It points from the top left to the bottom right. So, you know, there's not that much to talk about. Yeah, I just wanted to add that.
So I will share what happened with AI agents because I think a lot of people have been interested in this over the last few weeks. Cookie.fun, again. What have I done here? Anyway, went to 14 billion in terms of total. Yep. Yeah, is that just going to...
Refresh. Might work. There you go.
There we go. No, it still wants to kill me. Either way, we will just stop sharing that. It was an up and down week. So this time last week, I think we were at 11 or 12 billion. It went up to 18 billion 2 days after the show. Huge volume came into them. You had all-time highs across pretty much every single AI coin. And then on Trump, everything dumped again. And if you kind of bring up, I think I'll bring up the 3 charts, which I've told people to look up before, which was AI16Z, ARK, and FartCoin. FartCoin being the meme. The only real one that held up was FartCoin, which is this AI agent which created a meme, which has now become one of the biggest meme coins on Solana. Actually flipped WIF this week, flipped every other AI coin, which tells you again that memes, people identify with them a little bit more. I know, James, you got all 3 of them. The Melania coin in particular, or Melania, destroyed a lot of things on Solana. I think a lot of people were like, well, Trump's coming in, this is super bullish. And then I think a lot of people were like, well, we're going to get a Baron coin, we're going to get an Elon coin soon, we're going to get a host of other coins, which made people, I think, question a few of their, like, how easy it's going to be held in the volatility. But yeah, it does feel like the AI agent space is going to continue to push higher. Although it's going to be, I think, are going to be some hairy holds, as you've kind of even seen over the last week, up, down 40-50% at a go. There was some talk this week that Sam Altman is going in to speak to the government about AI super agents. So we could be seeing something there, although he did say they're not going to get AGI this month or next month. I think people are getting slightly ahead of themselves with the whole AGI thing. And I think the other final thing to talk about was macro. We spent a lot of time talking about macro. Maybe we could bring up the bond yields there, CTO, but we got a more benign CPI and PPI this week, which meant that we kind of have some clear air until next month, at least another few weeks, which meant crypto was able to kind of rally again. I think a lot of people were scared that we're going to get interest rate hikes, as we already said, but bond yields reversed from hitting that high. The dollar slightly weakened. They're still high, they're still elevated, and there's still a lot of worry that these high yields could start to break stuff, particularly in China. That could lead to pumping, as QE, like you said, Marty, at the start of the show. But macro certainly looked more benign going into this week. Yeah. Anything about that looks good, CTO?
I mean, huge. It's complete change from last week. Like last week, this looked really scary. Like this 10-year yield broke out first this level, then it broke out this level and started running towards here. And I mean, who knows where it would go. Now, I mean, if this was a trading chart, this would be like a bearish engulfing candle, meaning that the whole thing is reversed this week. So it's a complete change. And for sure, that is very, very nice for speculative assets like Bitcoin and stocks as well. So this is great, and I'm very happy to see that. And perhaps, maybe the 2-year yield, it could start has also reversed. It's also a bearish engulfing candle, or like a reversal undoing last week completely. And if this starts turning around here, that would be a massive pump fuel for everything. course, we don't know that yet, but yeah, it's completely different from that.
That one thing. What is a bearish engulfing candle for the audience?
Yeah, so it means like if we're looking last week, we had this one went up, right? Then this week it encompasses the candle on the previous candle, which is a very strong signal that something is changing direction, or it's at least an indication of that. And we have it here on the 2-year yield. We have it here on the 10-year yield as well, which is maybe even more important. So that's often happens at point of change, like changing direction. So it can be like an early indicator of something changing.
Yeah. So it looks like both the 10-year and the 2-year that would happen. And that did set up a slightly better environment. It's no surprise that that has happened and we've hit Bitcoin all-time high in the same week. Right.
I'll take a very quick stab at this.
7 minutes to the inauguration, by the way.
Okay, we'll be done by then. A very quick stab at this. This is the CME forecast. Now, it looks like we will not get a cut in January, but March, yes, 30% chance. I will go out on a limb here and say that I forecast the rates will be cut because the deficits are exploding. And in order to control inflation, which is the biggest pain point for American citizens, they have to bring rates down. So I think Jerome Powell will be put under extraordinary pressure to cut rates. And the long end of the bond is out of control. So
I can show a really good evidence of the fact that printing will begin soon. Can you, just sharing a screen, there we go. Hey guys, I track this very closely. This is global balance sheets of central banks versus Bitcoin. The blue lines indicate when the balance sheet is going up. That's when they're printing money, investing in securities. And the red is when they're selling securities. Okay, that's global. That's QT versus QE. So we can see clearly the QE was huge going through the COVID era and the Biden administration. And then you can see that that specific yellow line shows you the date in March when it shifted to quantitative tightening. And you can see it's the greatest quantitative tightening ever. But what we've learned through study now is the ratios and proportions of these can tell you a little bit about how much money they'll print. And you can see we're at the 0.618 right now is typically where it turns. If you do the numbers and you do the percentage ratios, they're going to print roughly 70 trillion. And the interesting part about that, if you remember, Janet Yellen actually in Brazil leaked that they were going to print 78 trillion for climate change. So on the show I'm saying today, I believe they're going to print $70 trillion. This is about to turn up, ticked up a couple of 100 billion today. This is the thing to watch. When this turns up, that's the bull run.
All right, we got 5 minutes to go. People want to run to the changing event in the next 5 minutes. So
yeah, it's got Trump's inauguration, people, in 4 minutes' time. Biden is done. SEC Chair Gary Gensler is out. Janet Yellen is out. It's a new day. It's a renaissance. Let's enjoy it.
Yeah, well said.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for tuning in on your holiday weekend in the US, guys. Really appreciate it. Thank you, you three. Obviously, you can find us all, James, on this YouTube channel. You can find him on X2, CTO YouTube channel on X2, Marty on X has his own community, and I'm on an X, and I have mandominutes.com, which is my daily newsletter. Great to see you, and we will see you again next week. I don't know who, maybe it's you again, James, which is always a good show. But yeah, we will we'll see you again next week, gents. Enjoy the inauguration.
Awesome. Bitcoin 125K next week.
Bye, guys.
125K. Wow. Good call. Thanks, Mando. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.